Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Nikolas early release, Valentin pulls rank, with strings attached. General Hospital, GH. Spoilers suggest that fans should always expect the unexpected in the land of Port Charles. Laura Collins, Jenny Francis, had a lovely visit with Nikolas Cassadine, Adam Huss, in prison recently, despite the sad ending to it all. Nikolas is having a hard go, however, he was happy to see his mom, and both were hoping that his transplant test would be the news they were looking for to save Lulu Spencer, last played by M. Raylan. After all, Nikolas saved his litter sister so many years ago with a bone marrow transplant, but sadly, he was marked as ineligible to be a transplant donor. During their chat, good behavior was brought up to possibly help with an early release. Nikolas seemed down in the dumps, still mourning the loss of Spencer Cassadine, Nikolas Chivas, and sad that he's missing major milestones that Ace Cassadine, Jay and Joey Clay, is achieving. Still, if Jack Brennan, Charles Mazur, had the pull to release himself from prison recently, at the drop of a hat, could the GH writers pull the same kind of miracle for Nikolas? After all, with Lucky back in the picture and Lulu sure to return soon, GH has put out a casting call for the character, but has yet to release the name of who will step into Lulu's shoes. It looks like a great opportunity for Laura's kids to reunite in the little town and jump into storylines together. With that being said, Nikolas isn't exactly part of the WSB, like Brennan, but he does have an uncle who is. Valentin Cassadine, James Patrick Stewart, is currently on the run with Charlotte Cassadine, Scarlett Fernandez. Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, is desperate to find them both, especially in light of Lulu's condition, and on the orders of Mayor Collins. Wouldn't it be interesting if Valentin sprung Nikolas out of jail, possibly with the help of Brennan? Valentin is sure to re-enter the PC picture at some point and will need a storyline that has him returning without repercussions. Nikolas has sworn to do better, which is why he's in prison right now. But could Valentin have strings attached if he helps with Nikolas' release? Something that would have Nikolas, once again, doing not-so-good things. Maybe he acts as a spy for Valentin, or his uncle needs something illegal in exchange for his freedom. General Hospital spoilers hint that Nikolas initially turned himself in as he wanted to be better to Ace than he was to Spencer. Still, even the best of intentions gets lost in chaos, and living in prison daily may make Nikolas desperate to get out. Especially if Lulu wakes up and there's an opportunity to spend time with her, his son, and long-lost brother Lucky. In the bustling corridors of General Hospital, a new storm was brewing, one that promised to shake Port Charles to its very core. The tension was palpable as whispers circulated about Nikolas Cassadine's imminent release from Pentonville. For months, the Cassadine prince had been languishing in prison, paying for crimes that had stained his family's already tarnished legacy. But now, it seemed the winds of fortune were blowing in his favor, or perhaps someone else's favor altogether. Valentin Cassadine, ever the calculating and enigmatic figure, had been orchestrating events from the shadows. His recent rise to power within the Cassadine Empire had not come without sacrifices, manipulations, and carefully played hands. But his most significant move yet was about to unfold, a move that would see Nikolas released from his cell far earlier than anyone had anticipated. The morning light streamed through the large windows of Valentin's office at Windermere, casting long shadows across the floor. Valentin stood by the window, his gaze fixed on the horizon, where the waters surrounding Spoon Island glistened under the sun. He was deep in thought, considering the consequences of his actions, yet confident in the plan he had set in motion. A soft knock on the door broke his reverie. Turning, Valentin saw his loyal confidant, Martin Gray, step into the room. The lawyer's expression was a mix of anticipation and concern, knowing all too well the weight of the decisions being made. "It's done," Martin announced, his voice steady but tinged with unease. "The paperwork for Nikolas' early release has been processed. He'll be out by the end of the week." Valentin nodded, his expression unreadable. "Good," he replied, his voice cool and controlled. "It's time to bring him back into the fold. But remember, Martin, this is not a favor. It's a deal." Martin hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "And you're certain Nikolas will hold up his end? He's not exactly known for his loyalty, especially where you're concerned." A smirk tugged at the corners of Valentin's mouth. "Nikolas doesn't have a choice. He's desperate to reclaim his life, to restore his position, and he knows I'm the only one who can make that happen. But there's a price for everything, and he'll learn that his freedom comes with strings attached." Meanwhile, in Pentonville, Nikolas sat on the edge of his cot, his mind racing. The news of his early release had come as a shock, a pleasant one, but a shock nonetheless. For months, he had resigned himself to his fate, knowing that his actions had led him here, that the walls of Pentonville were the price he paid for crossing too many lines. But now the door to his freedom was opening, and he couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this sudden twist of fate than met the eye. He knew Valentin's hand was in this. There was no other explanation. The thought of being indebted to his half-brother made his skin crawl, but what choice did he have? Nikolas had been stripped of everything, his power, his family's respect, even his son's trust. If Valentin was offering him a way out, he'd be a fool not to take it, even if it meant walking into yet another of Valentin's traps. The ride back to Windermere was surreal. The familiar sights of Port Charles blurred past him as the car sped along the roads leading to Spoon Island. Nikolas felt a knot tightening in his stomach. This place had been his home, his sanctuary, but now it felt like a gilded cage, one where Valentin held the key. As the car pulled up to the imposing gates of Windermere, Nikolas steeled himself. He wasn't the same man who had left this place. Prison had changed him, hardened him in ways he hadn't thought possible. But if Valentin thought he could control him, he was in for a surprise. Nikolas Cassadine was a survivor, and he would find a way to reclaim what was his, no matter the cost. Valentin was waiting for him in the grand foyer, his posture relaxed, a glass of brandy in hand. He watched as Nikolas entered, noting the tension in his half-brother's shoulders, the defiance in his eyes. Valentin could almost admire it, almost. "Welcome home, Nikolas," Valentin greeted, his tone smooth, almost warm. "I trust your accommodations in Pentonville were satisfactory." Nikolas' eyes narrowed. "Cut the crap, Valentin. I know you didn't do this out of the goodness of your heart. What do you want?" Valentin chuckled, swirling the brandy in his glass. "Straight to the point. I appreciate that. You're right, Nikolas, I didn't pull strings to get you out of prison for free. But what I want is simple, loyalty. You help me solidify our family's power, and in return, you get your life back. Full access to the estate, a seat at the table, and a chance to rebuild what you've lost." Nikolas didn't trust Valentin as far as he could throw him, but the offer was tempting. He needed to be back in control, to be part of his son's life, to repair the damage done. But he also knew Valentin well enough to understand that nothing was ever as simple as it seemed. "And if I refuse?" Nikolas asked, though he already knew the answer. Valentin's smile didn't waver. "Then you're free to walk away, back to Pentonville, or wherever you choose. But consider this your only opportunity, Nikolas. Reject me, and you'll find doors closing faster than you can open them." The silence that followed was thick with unspoken threats. Nikolas weighed his options, knowing that Valentin held all the cards, at least for now. But Nikolas was a Cassadine, and if there was one thing he had learned, it was that the game was never over until the final move was made. "Fine," Nikolas finally said, his voice steady. "I'll play your game, Valentin. But don't think for a second that I'm doing this out of loyalty. I'm doing this for my son, for my family. And when the time comes, I'll take back everything you've stolen from me." Valentin's eyes gleamed with something that looked like respect. "I wouldn't expect anything less. Nikolas, welcome to the game." As the two men stood in the shadow of Windermere's towering walls, an uneasy alliance was formed, one built on mutual distrust and shared ambition. But beneath the surface, both knew that this was only the beginning of a battle for control, one that would test their limits and change the face of Port Charles forever.